How's it going, friends? Jeffrey Buck here, and today I'm bringing you a fun conversation with my friend Kyle Kempers. He is just a good friend of mine. We have a lot of interesting conversations, and so today wanted to just kind of loop you into one of our conversations that we have around wealth building. So calling this building a wealth building mindset. And obviously we're not Warren Buffett. We aren't far down the road of experts, but these are the books that we read, the people that we hang out with. Kyle, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and what you do and talk a little bit about infinite banking. Just give us a brief introduction as to who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me. For one, just to have this conversation. Here in Colorado, I'm really passionate currently about just understanding money and understanding how to put money to work for you so that you're working smarter and not harder. And I think that we're all in this at different stages in this rat race trying to look for some kind of financial freedom. And I'm just really passionate about understanding the world that we live in and how money interacts with that world and how we can somehow manipulate it in some way to add better quality of life to ourselves and to those around us.
Yeah. Kyle's always saying things that I'm just kind of whoa, I never thought about it that way. So hopefully we can bring some of that to you today. Will you describe briefly what you do, what your
Yes. So I do something called infinite banking, and my role is to help you understand how to build a bank that you can put money into that will earn interest for you while you're also simultaneously borrowing against it. So we are looking at how to put your money to work for you in one space while you're also continuing to use it in another. So it's best said as a change in the flow of your money, and you're moving it over here while you're on the way to do something else with that capital.
To set up our brief conversation this morning, building a wealth building mindset in two mindset shifts. The first one is just for anyone, if you want to start building wealth, you have to start thinking about the future and not the present. So shifting your mindset from the present to the future. If you're caught up in how do I solve today's problems, and that's as far as you get, then you're never going to solve tomorrow's problems. You're never going to be able to set yourself up for what you want to be true a week from now, a month from now, a decade from now, 2 decades from now. And so that's that first mindset shift.
Deferred gratification is absolutely essential to figuring out how you're going to think about the future over the present. And I think we all live in this tension of deferred gratification versus being present and staying in the moment. And I heard this quote one time that I really liked, and it said that you can build wealth with a small amount of capital, but you cannot build wealth without the ability to save. And basically what that quote means is that you putting the intentionality and the time into figuring out how to set something aside, and whether that number is small or that number is large, you're giving yourself the opportunity to then take that money and put it to work for you and to do something with it that's more than you could do by yourself, just focusing on your day job.
Yeah.
So it's not about just increasing the amount of capital that you have and bringing in more money, but it's practicing savings and being able to put money aside so that you can then take that savings and leverage it in your favor.
And I think that leads really well into our second mindset shift, because it's kind of this change also from addition to multiplication. And I think a lot of people think in terms of addition, I have more money, I have less money, versus is interest working against me or working for me? So shifting from thinking about working for your money versus your money working for you. That's kind of a phrase that comes from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But yeah, I don't know. What do you have to kind of kick off that topic?
Yeah, you just said it, but I think that the way you measure if your money is working for you versus if it's working against you is in the interest points. Finding different creative ways to put your money into some kind of opportunity, whether that's securities or it's an alternative investment or it's real estate or it's even investing in a business venture. Finding a way to measure the interest that's coming back to you is key, because where we lose money is when interest points are against us.
Yeah.
And so that could be interest on a loan, it could be on your mortgage, it could be on a car loan, it could be anything. Yeah. Finding ways to measure interest working in your favor, I think is huge for just simplifying that phrase. How do you put money to work for you?
Yeah, and the analogy you used was like a jet stream, or if you've ever tried to row a boat up a stream, that's a very visceral experience of what happens when you have lots of credit card debt working against you. You are rowing upstream, And so the whole concept is you need to get the stream going in the right direction and get more of your money working for you, more interest points working for you than working against you.
Yeah, with that analogy, it's like the boat and the oars is what you have control over. It's like your financial situation and your ability to increase and make money and work towards wherever your goal is. And if you can increase the way the current moves underneath you, or you can change and influence that, you'll get to your results significantly quicker than if you're just focusing on the boat and the oars.
Yeah. Ooh, it's like the moving sidewalk in the airport too. You're still walking, but you're just walking there. So then the other thing that we talked about were like doing multiple things with $1. So a really easy example of this that you brought up, you can either use a debit card or you can use a credit card and get points. That dollar is no longer just $1. It's kind of like being credited back to you in a small amount. Give us maybe a bigger example.
Yeah, the first time I heard this question was with the guy that I work for now, and he's just saying that people that build wealth are constantly asking the question of how can I leverage this dollar in more ways than one? And one time we sat down to try to write out all the ways that they leveraged $1, and we came up with 12 different ways that $1 was being leveraged. And granted, this is at scale, and it's like involved buying property that you're then leasing to a company that you own, and so it's pretty complex. But I think on a practical note, like you just said, that's an example of okay, you just took $1 and multiplied it to 2. This is really what the idea of infinite banking is predicated on. It's this concept of can you take cash at scale and put it into an account that earns interest for you while you also borrow against it and then deploy it into buying in real estate or alternative investments, or potentially it could just be your emergency fund. Finding a creative way to take that dollar and leverage it against itself so that you're doing more than one thing with that dollar.
Yeah, I think about like with just simply a rental property, and this is my world in real estate, like you have income coming in from your tenants, but then they're also paying down the principal, or you're paying down the principal with that income, and then hopefully cash flowing on top of that. And then the house is appreciating, and then you get a tax cut as well. So there's like, and then at the same time, you know that rent is going to increase next year as well. So there's also this growth of rent that's going to happen over time. So what is that, like 5 different ways that you're like making money on an investment property?
One opportunity.
I feel like we could talk for hours about this. That's probably good for now to kind of end with those 2 mindset shifts, shifting from present to future, shifting from thinking about working for your money to your money working for you. Kyle, thank you so much for chatting with me. Thanks for spending hours chatting with me here and there. If you guys want to chat more with Kyle, just for you guys to get coffee, if you want to learn more about infinite banking, he can explain that to you as well. Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, man. Honored to be part of this.
Awesome. Have a great day.